Well, new advice telling fully COVID-vaccinated Americans that they no longer need to wear masks will soon be made law in most federal buildings.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention surprised many with sudden advice that the 120 million Americans who are fully vaccinated don't have to wear masks in indoor settings. Our correspondent Greg Jennett has more from Washington.
Yes, this may not seem like such a big deal to Australian audiences, but you do have to remember that for 14 months now, the mask has been the simple but number one front line of defence for Americans under CDC advice when it comes to holding infections at bay. And so there was a degree of surprise with the announcement that sort of came out of the blue, really, from the CDC and its director, Rochelle Walensky, yesterday, that everyone who is fully vaccinated now no longer needs to wear a mask in most indoor settings, save for a few very crowded ones or prisons, for instance. And a week or so ago, it was advised that masks weren't necessary outdoors either. And so what you're getting is a whole lot of catch up now as private corporations decide what to do all of a sudden with this advice. The same is true of the federal government. Even the White House itself is grappling and asking just for a bit more time before it goes down the further relaxation path. But even here in Washington, D.C., within the grounds of the White House, where you need to be accredited, of course, they've already advised people there. Joe Biden was seen not wearing a mask indoors or outdoors earlier today, our time here in the US. So everyone's spinning wheels. Retail chains like Home Depot and Macy's are in the same boat. They're trying to come up with new guidance. Target stores have for now decided just to keep things as they are and to review it a little bit later. But why don't we hear from Rochelle Walensky, the CDC director, explaining why this advice came as it did very quickly yesterday.
Needed to take this first step to say if you are vaccinated, individuals themselves are really safe to be able to take their mask off. But we really do need to understand that this country is not uniform. There are places in this country that still have higher rates of disease. There are places in this country that still have lower rates of vaccination. And so really people need to look into their local environment, because ultimately we know that this virus is an opportunist, and where there are low rates of vaccination, it will emerge again.
It's interesting, Greg, because masks there have, of course, become such a way of life for people. So it must be strange for them for some of them at least, to be thinking about not wearing masks, or for people to see people without masks. What has been the response from the public there?
I think it's a combination, Joe, as you suggest, of confusion and conservatism. People will have to search within themselves and not really abide, if they don't want to, by the official advice, and decide whether in their own mind they're comfortable with being frowned upon by others as they pass them by in the street. These are the sort of personal choices that are going to have to be made. But some states have already done away with mask mandates anyway, so it's a bit academic in certain parts of the US. Texas and Florida are good examples there. But what you're getting now is a snowballing effect, where once the feds go down this path, and clearly they are, this is a work in progress since the decision of the CDC yesterday, but within a matter of days, it will be embedded as formal advice that you don't have to wear one on federal property or in federal buildings. Once that happens, it really does drive it down into the realm of personal choice. And we are hearing many Americans say, when asked, that, look, for the time being, I'm going to keep wearing it, and I'll address it further down the track. Of course, just to add finally, Joe, one of the key considerations here is this advice applies to those who are fully vaccinated, but how can you ever know when you dispense with that mask whether the people you are mingling with are in the same boat? Maybe they're halfway vaccinated, maybe they haven't even had a shot yet. So there's a little bit of an implementation difficulty here as well.